welcome. We are still on section 2, and we've talked about all these. We've looked at all these. Now that's why I have them cancelled out. We need to talk about arrays, all right? And as usual, we're going to start with the concept, all right? As soon as we get to understand the concept, we're going to talk about the types, all right? Then how to use it and when to use it. So let's start with the concept. In a couple lectures ago, we talked about variables, right? We said a variable is basically a word, right, with a $sign, right? Let me just explain it in a layman's language. It's a word with a $sign that equals a value, all right? Now this value could be anything, all right? It could be static, it could be dynamic, and if it's static like this, it means you assigned it to it and you don't want it to change, all right? And if it's dynamic, it means it could be coming from a form or from a database. So if you do something like this, you have created a variable called user, right? And if you echo the variable user, right, you're going to see the value that you assigned to the variable, right? You can see it here, right? Now, a variable only allows you to assign just one value, okay? Now, if I should go ahead and I say comma, right? Let me say this is, I'll just leave it like that, right? And then over here, I will say United, keep this in double quote, United States, all right? And then a comma, right? I will say, for example, Dubai, right? Keep this in quotes. Now, I'm assigning multiple values, right? I can also do an integer. I'm assigning multiple values to this variable called users, all right? Now, when I do this, I'm basically creating an array, all right? This does not become a variable anymore. It becomes an array. So an array is simply a variable, right, that has multiple values. That's it. That's just the concept, all right? So if you assign multiple values, or if there is any variable that holds multiple values, then that is an array, all right? Now in PHP, to declare an array, to tell PHP that this variable is an array, you have to assign array to the values, all right? So the syntax is basically defining the name of your array, users, equals, then array, double R A Y, then a bracket, right? Then everything that comes in here becomes an array, all right? Make sure you open it, you put them in quotes, all right? And then a comma, then the next one, then a comma, right? Now, I believe you've understood the concept of what an array is. Let's look at the types, all right? Now, to understand the types of array, you need to understand how they are being assessed, right? When I started this lecture, I told you that if we have a variable like this, all right, you can just, if it's a single variable, if it's a variable with a single value, right, you can simply echo the variable, right? But when you have an array, you need to actually assess them based on something that we call indexed, or they are associative, right? We're gonna get into this. For example, you understand, if you've been in the computing technology for a while, you understand that when you have a list of items and they are indexed, there are numbers assigned to them, right? So, and indexes, they start from 0, all right? So 0 is actually a value, okay? Get that now, okay? In programming, 0 is a value, all right? So there are 4 values here. All right, even though it starts from 0, we count 0 as a value. All right, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4 values here assigned to the array users. Right, so now we are talking about indexed arrays. Okay, we are now on the types, and we're talking about indexed arrays. Right, now PHP automatically assigns 0 to the first value inside an array, okay, followed by 1, followed by 2, followed by 3, and these are called keys. Okay, keys. All right, the index value of a value inside an array, they are called keys. All right, so this user now, if I want to echo the first value inside this array, I will have to refer to what? This key. You get the point? So now, if I want to echo the values inside these arrays, what I will do is I will just write echo and then the name of the array, right, which is users. This is the name of the array. All right, now we need to comment these out because PHP doesn't recognize them, right? And what you do is arrays, anytime you see a variable that is attached to a square brace, right, like this one, right, square bracket like this one, right, then you should automatically know that the values inside this is an array. You should know that this is an array. Okay, so if I put 0 here, all right, then I put my semicolon and save this, I should see this first value. All right, so you can see it here. Right, now if I go back to array, let's say I want to echo Dubai, so I'm going to use the index. The key value of Dubai is 2. All right, like so, right? Then I get it, right? So this is how to access indexed arrays. Okay, the keys are assigned automatically. PHP knows, all right, that this is index 0 and that is index 1 and that is index 2 and that is index 3. Okay, now let's talk about associative arrays. This one, you're going to use it a lot. You're going to use associative arrays a lot. All right, associative arrays is when you want to assign the keys with your own value. Okay, with your own key. When you don't want PHP to use index keys, all right, to refer to your values in the array. All right, now you shouldn't be confused. I will explain that in a second. Now let's say you don't want the index values, right? You want, because you know this one here down here is full name, right? This is the full name, right? And maybe this is the nationality, right? Right? And maybe this is the current address, right? And then this one, the 21, is the age. Now, what is happening here is you want to assign these as key values for these values in this array. You don't want PHP to index them, all right? You don't want this to be 0, all right? You don't want this to be 1, you don't want this to be 2, you don't want this to be 3, all right? You want to assign your own values, all right? Keys, let's put it that way. You want to assign your own keys so that it can be easier for you to refer to the values, all right, inside this array. Well, you can do that. That is why, and that is what an associative array is, all right? So to assign an associative array, you will have to use this symbol, the equal sign, all right, and then the greater than arrow, all right. So if I do something like this, I say full name, right, equals greater than, then I say my name. Then what I've done here is I've assigned this key, right? I'm telling PHP that, listen, this this variable is an array because I put array here, all right? And this one, the first value you are seeing there is actually the key that is assigned to this value, all right? So let's try and create an associative array here, all right? Let's say let's use the same let's use the same, we say users array into bracket, all right? Now what we do is we open a quote and then we go full name, then equals greater than, then now this is supposed to be after the full name, then after the key value equals greater than, then another quote, then you put the full name inside, or the value. And this could be coming from a database, this could be coming from a form, all right? Now this one is not a value, it's a key, right? Now this is the value because this one is what is equaling and pointing to this key, right? So I will do this, all right? And then you put a comma, right? And then this will be nationality, right? Don't forget your quote. Nationality equals pointing to United States, right? Right? Comma, right? Then we have current. Don't forget your quote. Current address, I just make it short, pointing equals, and is pointing to what? Dubai, right? Right? Then a comma, right? Then age equals pointing to 21. All right? Now you don't need a comma for this one, right? Because it's an integer. And then you close it and then you put your semicolon. Now you have created an associative array because you are associating these keys to these values. All right? So the key name, full name, is getting assigned to this value here. And again, I would say these values could be coming from a form, these values could be coming from a database. All right? Now how do we now echo this? All right, we're talking about how these arrays are used now. Okay, if I do this, I will definitely get an error. Okay, I will comment this out. Let me just comment this because PHP doesn't recognize it. All right, now if I echo this array, right, and I say 2, I'm going to get an error, right? Let's see. All right, so we get an error, right, on line 99, right? Which line is that? This is the line, all right? And it says undefined offset 2. Now the reason is we are calling this the third one. The third one will be Dubai, right? We are calling an associative array in an index format. It's not going to work, right? So let's say we want to call this value, which is assigned to this key, full name. All we have to do is put full name inside of this, and then when we now save and go back to our browser, we're going to see it, right? So let's go back to our, now if you want to echo the nationality of this guy here, right, all you have to do is put nationality, right? And then when you save this and you go to the browser, you will see the value inside it. All right. So these are the there's another type called the multidimensional, but you don't have to worry about that. When you become a professional, then you can start learning more, going in depth, right? So this is how to create indexed and associative, and I'll say it again. Associative arrays, you're going to use it a lot. All right, let's talk about when they are used. Okay, for example, if you're fetching data from a database, okay, and then you write your query, right, and then the data comes back, all right, as you can specify the how you want the data to come back. Now, in most cases, you would want the data to be assigned to a variable called, let's say, rows, right? And then inside this variable is going to have all the data that is coming from the database. Now, how would you assign all the data coming from a database to one variable? Right? You see how array comes in handy, right? So in that case, you will have to create an associative array, all right, for that variable, so that you can keep all the data that you're getting from the database inside that variable. All right. Now I'll give you an example. PHP has a function, all right, called my SQLi underscore fetch underscore array. Right now, when you call this function MySQLi fetch array, right, and then you pass in, we're going to talk about functions later, but I just want to explain this to you, and you pass in probably the results that you got from the query that you wrote. What happens is these results, right, is being fetched in a form of an array and is kept in a variable called rows. So these rows, this variable now will now hold all the information that is coming in from the database in one variable. So for example, if you want to put show the names or echo the names of the users in that in your database table, you would say something like echo $ rows, right? Then you put your square brace, right? Then you probably say names, right? And this will show you all the names inside this variable. All right. So this is a typical way of how an associative array is being used. It comes in handy. So I want you guys to really understand it. All right. If you want to watch the video again, go ahead and do that. All right. Go back. Rewind the video, play it again, listen to the watch the explanation, and try to write your own, right, your own variable, right, your own array, and try to echo out the keys from that array. It's very important. It's very important for you to understand arrays, and most importantly, associative arrays, because you're going to use it a lot. All right. I hope this explanation was good enough. And this video was quite long, but I had to make it long because I really want you guys to understand what arrays. All right. So thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next lecture.